15, we have two missing sides. We have side M and side N, and there's a 50-degree angle in between them. This is a right triangle, so we can use these trig ratios to help us out. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is use the sine of that 50-degree angle. And since I know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, I can fill that in and say the sine is opposite of 50, which is 8, and the hypotenuse here is n. Okay, so the sine of 50 degrees is 8 over n. Since I've only got the one variable, that is going to allow me to solve this. And some people get confused because they think, well, I don't know what the sine of 50 is. Remember, we can use it, that is an exact value. We can use a calculator to find what that exact value is. So now we just do some algebra, and I want to multiply both sides by n so that I get it out of the denominator. And so over here I'm going to have n times the sine of 50 degrees equals 8. And I want to get n by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 50 degrees. I'll get n equals 8 divided by the sine of 50 degrees. And at this point, I would plug this all into my calculator, and when I plug in 8 divided by the sine of 50 degrees, I got about 10.44. Okay, so that's one of the, now we've got one of the sides here, n, about 10.44. We're going to do something similar to solve for m. And here I'm going to use the tangent of 50 degrees, and I'll explain why I use the tangent instead of the cosine in just a little bit. Okay, the tangent, remember, is opposite over adjacent. And when I plug in what opposite is, the opposite side is 8, we found that before. The adjacent side from 50 is this side, m, which we're going to find. Okay, so it's okay to say that the tangent of 50 degrees equals 8 divided by m. And now I follow the same kind of algebra pattern that I did before. I'm going to multiply both sides by m. So on this side I'll have m times the tangent of 50 degrees. I'm left with 8 on the other side. I want to get my m by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by the tangent of 50. That gives me m equals 8 divided by the tangent of 50 degrees. And again, at this point, I would use my calculator. When I did that and plugged it in, I got about 6.71. Okay, so now I've solved for both m and n, which is what we're looking to find. The other thing that I want to show you, though, is why I didn't use cosine in this case. Let's see what would have happened if I tried to find the cosine of 50 degrees. And remember, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. The adjacent side to 50 is side m. It's a variable. And the hypotenuse is also a variable n. Now, I guess you could make the argument that once I had n, I could plug it in here and use the cosine, and that's true. I'd be a little bit inaccurate since I'd be working with a rounded number, but right off the bat, I wouldn't have been able to use cosine at all. So you got to kind of pick and choose based on which variables you know or don't know.